PTF and Vanessa Ryle, who is finally here at Santa Anita for our Breeders' Cup Diary. First impressions of the great race place.
First impressions, incredible. Like better than, I think, you have a view and a preconceived idea about what something's going to be like, and then you get here and it's very rare that something actually is better than that preconceived idea. But so far, I mean, look at this. Like, honestly, just ridiculous and class. And what a morning as well, just being able to stand and watch so many top class horses, which we'll get to in due course. But honestly, you have one of those moments that you're just like, this is nothing short of a privilege. It's just fab.
12 months ago, you'd never been to a Breeders' Cup. Now I have the impression you're not planning on missing one for the foreseeable future. What is it about this event that resonates so much with you?
I think the fact that there's that real Ryder Cup feel, e.g. Europeans against the US in those, specifically obviously the turf races. It just feels like that adds a whole nother dimension. On the race days last year, like getting a win for the Euros felt like a real, like, yes, one for the Euros in the bag. I love that. And then when you're out here, it very much feels like an away match. And so kind of the Europeans kind of stick together and kind of support each other. It very much feels like that, whereas we just don't have that at home. And then, of course, it's branded as the World Championships. And people would argue otherwise, obviously different tracks, different surfaces, different categories. But ultimately, you essentially see the best of the best here. And that's what I love about it.
Fantastic. Which is the race of the weekend for you?
The turf, definitely, yeah.
When you talk about World Championships, that certainly lives up to the name. We got a lot of international participation, bringing in some form lines from around the world.
Seeing essentially Mostahdaf and Augusta Rodin, that clash between those two, we haven't seen that in Europe yet this year, and it's something that I'm just like very eagerly anticipating, basically. Saw both of them this morning out on the track, just having a canter. Mostahdaf out on the turf, sort of did a little canter on his own, following a stablemate Inspiral, and obviously then the Aidan battalion. It was just great to see them. Look, they're only stretching their legs. But that for me is going to be pretty much the race of the weekend.
We're going to have Michelle in a little bit to talk about what she saw in track work today. But were there any particular big winners for you in terms of first visual impressions?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? When I was here last year, you really get a sense of the horses from Europe who have taken to just the different nature of training out here, e.g. loads of different horses, loads of different places, going in different directions at different speeds.
Yes.
And definitely last year, the big standout negative was Nashwan, and she ran accordingly, and that really stuck with us. We spoke about that in the preview shows, and that was definitely something for like punters to take going forwards. Today, I didn't feel like from the European point of view, from what I saw, I didn't think there was like any massive negatives, but I think the one to keep an eye on will be Inspiral as the week goes on. Obviously, big interest in her stepping up and trip in the fillies and mares. Can't wait to see her. She just had a little canter out on the track under Frankie this morning, and she was definitely quite lucky. Mostahdaf came after her and had a much more like sort of concentrated, fluid, professional look about him, which you would expect given how much international travel he's had. Inspiral was definitely having a look around, and I did just think, oh, I wonder how she'll settle into it. But that's just first day out here having a canter on the turf. Intrigued to see how she looks tomorrow, but she'll be one, given her hit and miss profile in terms of her form, she'll be one to keep an eye on, because she could throw in a stinker, and we might know that beforehand depending on how she's trained.
Great stuff, Vanessa.
Okay, so one of the big European stories of this year's Breeders' Cup here at Santa Anita is no doubt first timer here with a horse, Adam West, with Living the Dream, which you literally are. I mean, everyone said that to you, but Adam, I'm way more used to seeing Adam at the likes of Wolverhampton, Southall, those sort of places back
Huntingdon,
home. Yeah,
Oslas,
there you go,
yeah,
the really glamorous spots back home. And instead, we're here in glorious sunshine. We've raised our game. Look how far we've come, Adam.
It's amazing. I'm going to start charging people $1 for every time they say you're living the dream.
Yeah, you should. It's such like easy media pun to go to. But in all seriousness, obviously here with the horse, you must just be like pinching yourself to be here, really.
It's incredible. I haven't had time to think about it. Like sat on the plane coming over yesterday, I was, it started to sink in. And the worst thing was they give me a bit of Wi-Fi on there, and that was it. Then I was looking at everything and reading everyone's comments, and I was like, wow, this is getting some momentum. This is big.
I think
amazing.
The thing is at these big events, you know, we know all the big names that are here regularly, and so the media is always going to latch on to somebody, as I said, having their first runner at a Breeders' Cup and relatively from a small yard at home. But, you know, we shouldn't downplay his chances, because I know that you guys feel like you've got a serious horse on your hands, and he's shown that.
Yeah, he showed it in the Nunthorpe. I think even his run in the Palace House and Temple Stakes are very credible. And with the sprints, you just got to have a bit of luck. He's got pace, so you know, if he can grab that rail and keep it, then it's his for the taking.
And how has he settled in? You obviously landed yesterday, first morning here at the track, just everyone getting acclimatised, team included, who were giving it a good kick.
Yeah, there's a buzz here that is like beyond anything. Even like we're training in Epsom with the Derby, and you get the Oaks and the Derby meet, and that's, you know, that's great, but it's kind of like lost on the downs. It kind of spreads out, it dissipates a little bit. But here, everything's so intense, and he's just picked up on that atmosphere, and he is buzzing.
Yeah,
so,
but in a positive way.
In a really good way. Yeah,
Great.
He's thriving off it. He loves the attention, loves all the cameras, loves the people. He's Stephen Jolene here. He's picked up on the kids and everything straight away. So he's he knows.
And what about now till race day? We saw him do a relatively faster piece of work, did we, the other day?
Yeah, both
so
yesterday. Both yesterday and today, he probably went a little bit quicker than what we were looking at. So I think we'll just downplay him now. He's ready. He's told me he's ready. So we'll just keep things nice and simple.
How are you going to spend the rest of the day?
I'm going to go sweep the barn. I'm going to rake the barn. I'm going to just check he's all right. And but I'll take in what events Breeders' Cup send over my way, and try and stay in the corner out of everyone's way.
Well, try and enjoy it, right? I mean, the thing is you'll be back here, no doubt, but, you know, it's a privilege, isn't it, to be here? You've got a horse to go to war with, and we obviously wish you the very best. We will, of course, be cheering, but enjoy your week, and thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Adam West, living the dream here in Santa Anita.
Can't
wait to support. Yeah, that's another dollar. Can't wait to support him on Saturday.
We bring back our track work expert, Michelle Yu. Michelle, not the easiest morning around here at the Great Race Place. Had to deal with some very sad news, as well as a big defection in the Classic. Let's start with the practical move incident, we'll call it.
Yeah, so this morning, right before 7 o'clock, we did have a delay in track work, and it ended up that Practical Move had collapsed on the racetrack of a apparent cardiac incident. We did speak with the official Breeders' Cup veterinarians, who were able to confirm that he did pass away due to this cardiac incident, which they are assuming. He will, of course, be brought in for a full necropsy and toxology to make sure that was the case. But as of now, this is what the Breeders' Cup vets have officially reported to us. And you know, of course, our hearts go out to trainer Tim Yakteen, who is going to be saddling Practical Move for an attempt here in the dirt mile.
And we got the news that Arcangelo, who'd been stuck in the stall the last couple of days, officially get word that he won't be competing. Definitely one of the feel-good stories gone from this year's Breeders' Cup. Were you surprised by that news?
I mean, not entirely surprised. We had been following Arcangelo pretty closely, and Jenna Antonucci has been very transparent, open, that he had this little bit of heat in his foot. They had pulled his shoe off to try and relieve if there was maybe some pressure in it. But over the days, as we getting closer and closer to race day, it just wasn't responding to any of the treatments that you might do for a warm foot. They have obviously run some diagnostics, and they're still trying to figure out what precisely it could be. But like Jenna said, as they were running out of time, they didn't want to press him, and they didn't want to run him if he wasn't feeling 100%. And when you're 3 days out from the biggest, race day that you're ever going to face, you want to be feeling 100%. I didn't get to speak to Jenna myself this morning, but I did see her a couple times in passing here, and actually her spirits are very good. Like she said, the horse is mad at them. He's back there in the barn. He is. Actually, I did see him. He was out in his turnout stall, and he's got his ears pricked up, and he's whinnying and rolling, and he looks like he's like, excuse me, how come I am not out there? I think I'm supposed to be on the track. So the 2 days confined to his stall, being walked, and then being in the turnout have been just so upsetting for him. He really does want to be out training, and that's what he was supposed to be doing. So he's confused as why he's not. I will say the one unfortunate thing for me is that they did announce that he's going to be going straight off to stud. I wish they had kept him around another year.
Yeah, it seems like a horse that might have made sense in the Pegasus at least next year. But let's talk about some of the international contingent who are out here today. Who caught your eye this morning as far as those go?
Okay, well, first of all, I have been waiting for Mostahdaf to come out, right? I haven't seen him since Saudi, and I am like such a fangirl of his, so I was like stalking the quarantine barn. Right at the quarantine barn time he was supposed to come out, I got called away to go do another interview, so I didn't get to see him until he was halfway on the track. He looked fantastic, but I did get to catch him coming out of schooling. He went to the paddock and he was just lovely. And then he walked back to the quarantine barn the opposite way. He looked so poised. I mean, there were a gazillion cameras following him around. The way that you walk back is right through the barn area, and there's hullabaloo going on. And he was so perfect. Like, nothing turned his hair. He was just like, yes, I know you're all here to see me. Feel free to bow down right in front. It was no problem. And then I laughed too because Frankie was on Inspiral right next to him, and right off his haunch. And he was, yelling and he's waving, and that filly's just like, what's going on? But Mostahdaf was just chill and cool as a cucumber. So he was awesome. I loved seeing him. And then we got to see the Aidan O'Brien horses for the first time today. And that's always, maybe you guys at home or over there are used to it. At home here, we get floored when Aidan brings his contingent out, and they were circling before the track opened, and I couldn't even keep track. I was like, how many do you have? He's like, oh, I don't know, 8 or 9, somewhere around there. Like, he couldn't even keep track of them either. I thought Mountain Bear looked super hot. He was sweaty and foamy, and I asked Aidan, he said that's just kind of his MO, so it was okay. I thought Augustus Rodin looked fantastic out there. He was very poised, and Broom was just being the best girl ever. She, leading the pack over there, and it was really good. It was really cool to see them out here on track.
Very great stuff from you, Michelle. We will have you back tomorrow.
See you then.